Good afternoon, class. Welcome to this session of modern organization and management. In our yesterday's class, we were discussing regarding objectives, and in our today's class, we shall discuss regarding objectives a bit more and also regarding management by objective. Now, speaking about this management by objective, first, we'll have to understand the goal setting process. Now, to speak about this goal setting process, it can be basically viewed in two different types, that is, traditional view and modern view. Now, traditional view is nothing but how the objectives used to be set in an organization in the earlier times, even before coming up with the new modern approaches. Now, the second view is regarding the modern approach. Now, modern approach we consider management by objective or MBA. Now, let us first try to understand the traditional view. Now, speaking about this traditional view, here the main theme would be that goals are always set by top management and it shall always be a one way process. And it is perceived under the traditional view that the top management knows what is best for the organization, and it is only the top management people who have the ability to see the big picture of the organization. And therefore, this top management they come up with goals for the middle management, which in turn provides all the necessary things that are necessary to develop further subsidiary goals in the lower levels of the organization. Now, one more thing that we have to remember is that now, in order to achieve the results in an organization, there always must be the multiple goals, and these multiple goals they have to be in the form of a means and ends chain. Now, the organization structure, it should be carefully selected from the different types of the structures that are available for at the end of the organization. And also to be effective, or whatever goals the organization comes up with, they have to be clearly defined, and also it should be said to the employees at the beginning of the organizational activity. Now the main role that goals play in an organization is that they control the behavior of the members in the organization. And the traditional method is also of the view that this goal setting process, it is perfection, perfectly rational, and there is no need for account, for the difference between stated and the operational goals. Now, there are some of the limitations of this traditional method. By far, whatever we have discussed regarding traditional view, if we try to remember it, there can be some of the limitations that we can come up with. Now, the first and the foremost limitation always is that goal setting need not always precede the organizational activity. That is to tell, there are a lot of times, organizations can be started without goals, but with some resources that are readily available at the hands of the organization for disposal. Now, that is the main limitation. The second one is that now there are there can be different organization under consideration. Now, the goals of all this organization are most of the times would be confusing in nature or ambiguous in nature, and it would be many a times very difficult to reduce everything and bring it to into writing and interpret each of the goals uniformly. And the third limitations can be regarding what we discussed in yesterday class regarding the hierarchy of goals. Now, whenever it comes to a business organization, there are least chances that goals can be integrated into hierarchy, or in other words what we call as means ends chain, because they are always bound to you know be a difference between stated and operational goals of the organization. So now speaking about, we have already spoken regarding the stated and operational goals, or what could be called as official goals versus the real goals. Now we have discussed it in the earlier class, but let's just briefly look into those. Now these stated or official goals are, they are the simple statements regarding what the organization desires. Now, usually these goals, they represent or they reflect what the organization will have to do in the future. Usually they would be in the written format, and it would be communicated to all the employees by the top management. And when it is communicated, it shall be through formal documents or through a press release. And speaking about the operational, they are the real goals of the organization. They usually speak about what is that the organization is trying to do as of now. Now, irrespective of what the official goals say, they are the aims. Now, official goals, usually represent the base philosophy of the company, and usually they would be expressed in an abstract way. That is to tell, when, goals might be such that, like, to give an example, maybe it would be something like sufficient profits or market leadership. Now, whenever we use such terms in goals, they represent ambiguity in that, and it cannot be understood by the lower level of hierarchy. Therefore, these goals are filtered down through organization, and as it is filtered down, who are the people who are concerned with doing that work, they usually attach a real meaning to these terms, and thereby operational goals specify the way in which certain formal goals are to be achieved. Now, that is to tell, profit goals can be met through the pursuit of operative goals, such as maybe market penetration, maybe giving importance for the quality of the product that is being rendered to the society, or by taking some steps wherein the organization can try to bring in morale to the employees, or also by bringing competitive pricing. Now, when we speak about this operational goal or operative goal, they indicate the alternative ways through which the organizational's formal goals can be achieved. Now, there has been one study done by Charles Sparrow, or the spell goes like Charles, Charles, and Perrow, Perrow. Now, according to this person, he has given five different goals which are important among the operative goals for an organization. He begins with the environmental goals, and then he speaks about output goals, system goals, product goals, and derived goals. Now, speaking about this environmental goals, usually such kind of goals, when it is achieved by the organization, they satisfy the people and the organization in the external environment. Uh, to give an example, maybe in profit making organization, goals like customer satisfaction, social responsibility, maybe some of the important environmental goals for the organization. Now, speaking about the second one, that is output goals. Now, these output goals, they represent the customer needs, or they identify the goals which are related to what exactly the customers need. Now, it also poses questions like what market should be entered by the organization, or what is the best market for the product or the service which they are rendering, which product might lie, product line must be uh, made better of, which product line should be shut down, and certain such questions wherein they give importance especially for the product or the service that are they are rendering is called as output goals. Now the third one is system goals. Now speaking about these system goals, they are concerned with the maintenance of the entire organization itself. Now, if we remembered, we spoke regarding what is a system, what is a subsystem, when we try to understand the theories of management. So here when we speak about system, it is all concerned with the maintenance of the entire organization altogether. Now features like growth, profitability, stability of the organization, efficiency that has to be brought in the organization, all such things wherein we consider the entire organization as a whole is considered here. Now, speaking about this, the next one is product goals. Now, product goals, they emphasize the nature of the product which are being delivered to the customer. Now, usually they define the quantity, the quality, variety, or how the product should be styled. When we tell product, it can be product, service, or especially that thing what is being, you know, offered for the customers of the organization. And speaking of this, even the innovations or inventions or the availability of the product, all things shall be included in this product goals. Now, speaking about this, the last one is derived goals. Now, when we speak of derived goals, now these goals they refer to the how the organization is utilizing its power, especially in secondary or derived areas. Now secondary or derived areas could be like how is it or how the organization is contributing to political activities, or whether they are giving any kind of social service, or maybe even social service need not be that you spend some profit on the society. It could also be even a small thing like recruiting a handicapped person, or whether the organization is providing any kind of social service institution. All such things shall be discussed under derived goals. Now, this was all about the traditional view or how the goal setting used to be there in the earlier organization. Now, the second one is goal setting process in the modern view or the modern view of goal setting process. Now, the modern view of goal setting process is nothing but the management by objective. Now, when we are speaking so much about goals, one thing we should remember is that goal setting can never be a perfect rational activity. That is to tell, goals of an organization cannot be 100% written on the paper and done. Or it cannot be such a thing which can be based on all quantitative numbers. Now, there shall definitely be something which would be perceived, which would be expected in the organization, or simply it means there shall be subjectivity included in the goal process. Now, speaking about this or perfect rational activity, when we tell such a word, it always represents about a particular element where somebody has full knowledge of it. Knowledge in terms of every element that is included. Maybe in terms of the opportunity that is available, in terms of the limitations of the organization, or the capacity of the organization, or how well focused is the organization to put all its attention on the goal setting process. Now, usually, this can only be expected or written down in the paper, but in the real world, it can never be done so. Now, usually, such conditions are, very leastly satisfied in many of the organizations. Now, the goals are, they're just like compromises. The actual goals are products of, a series of negotiations between or series of interaction between both the internal and the external group of the organization. Now, each of the group shall definitely influence the goals, and the goals also influence each of the group. And definitely, when it shall be influenced, it will further lead to formation of groups, and all those group they ultimately decide the goals for the organization. Now, there are also chances that instead of, trying to maximize the performance, the organization may try to accomplish goals, in a satisfying manner. That is to tell, what has been written down in the paper, if that is achieved, then it is said and done. That is correct. That can be regarded as satisfying manner. But the organization always expects it to be, a maximized performance or maximum utilization of resources. Now, speaking about all this, what do we mean by MBO, or what do we mean by this management by objective? Now, speaking about management by objective, this can also be called as planning by objective, goal management, appraisal by result, joint target setting, or even it can be called as work planning and review. All these names shall be given for management by objective, or these are the other names of management by objective. That is, it can also be called as appraisal by result. It can also be called as joint target setting. It can be called as planning by objectives. It can be called as goal management, or it can also be called as work planning and review. So, what exactly is MBO? Okay. Now what do we do here under management objective? Now management by objective is such a philosophy or such an thinking of management, and under this thinking it usually concentrates on the measurable goals and also measurable end results. And when the thinking is such that both the means and ends are measurable, it can provide a rational approach or a systematic approach to management, and thereby bringing a rationality in whatever the organization does. It always helps to prevent the crisis that the organization has to face. Now, having said all this, now one of the idea that MBO has is that usually when we allow people when we allow people to know what is that which is expected of them, they intend to perform better. Now, it also assumes that people are also interested in the goal setting process and in evaluating their performance against what has been targeted by the organization. Now, to tell this, it would be better if we take the words of Odieron. Now he tells that MBO is a process whereby the superior and subordinate managers of the organization, they jointly identify what is the common goals. They define the each individual's major area wherein which they have to take a responsibility. Now, this responsibility usually would be defined in terms of what are the results that are being expected of the person who is taking the responsibility. And when they have explained all these things, they usually use the measure as guides for operating the unit and also accessing the contribution of each of its members. Now, speaking about all this, we can try to understand the features of MBO. Now, the first feature is that it allows all the individuals, or it also allows the employees to participating in setting the objectives of the organization. But the thing is that these objectives or these goals are such to be that they have to be tangible, they should have the quality of measurability, and they should also be verifiable. The second feature is that management by objective, it usually puts its attention on what is that has to be accomplished rather than how it is to be accomplished, or it shall always put attention on the goals than the methods that is being used. Now, MBA has this feature that it concentrates on the key result area. Now, these key result areas, they translate, the abstract philosophy of the management into concrete phraseology. Earlier, we took the example of market leader. That is abstract philosophy. Now, concrete phraseology may be a strategy wherein which you take so that you can actually become the leader of the market. Maybe in terms of product availability or the market share that you have or the market growth that you are achieving. Now the technique can be put, to general use. Further, MBO is a dynamic system which usually seeks to cooperate or bring together the company's need to achieve its profit and also the sales growth, with the managers need to clarify and achieve its profit and sales growth, along with the managers need to contribute and develop himself. Now, speaking of this, one more characteristic that MBO has is that it is a systematic and rational technique which allows the management, to attain maximum results from available resources by focusing on the goals which can be achievable. Now, it also allows the subordinate with plenty of opportunities to take creative decisions on their own. Now, this is all regarding what is MBO, what is the model view of goal setting process, and some of the features. Now, if we have to go by definition, MBO is a process through which specific goals are set collaboratively for the organization as a whole and every unit and individual within it. Now, the goals are then used as the basis for planning, managing organizational activity, and also assessing and rewarding the contribution. Now, speaking about MBO, one thing we have to remember is that management of by objective. If you have to refer further, there are a lot of management textbooks, and each of the textbook shall have its own idea of what is management by objective. So, the one best way that you can reduce your confusion is try understanding the concept, read all the materials that are available, and you should be able to integrate all that you have read into one thing as to what is MBO. Now, MBO in simple, it means that a goal in which all not only the top management but also employees are also included. And the goals shall be set in such a way that the interest of every element in the organization shall be satisfied. And the goals shall be not on an abstract basis but on a basis where it is measurable. Now, the next thing is the process of MBA. the process of the MBO. Now, even the steps that are being shown, now this is the process given in one of the textbook. Now, when you refer different materials, the process that has been shown might be different. So, according to what you are reading, you should be able to understand the things. Now, it doesn't mean any of the textbooks are wrong. Whatever the textbook tells, it tells about the views of the author. So, you'll have to understand the views, you'll have to understand what is MBO. Now, the first process in MBO is regarding the setting of goals. Now, speaking about setting of the goals, now usually it is expected that this management by objective idea in any organization, it can only be, benefiting the organization when there is a strong support from the top level management. And it also has to see to that the philosophy of both the management and the MBO should be inconsistent, or should be, such a philosophy that both should complement one another, rather than making one, or rather than bringing any kinds of problems for the organization. Now, the philosophy of the MBO and the philosophy that the management is having, they have to go hand in hand. Now, the long term goals of the organization must be the first thing that the MBO has to do. Things like, what is the basic purpose of the organization? What business is the organization is doing, and why is that organization is doing it? Now, what are the long term prospects in other different areas of the organization? Now, these are some of the questions that the organization will have to ask itself in the beginning. Now, once after all such questions are being answered, or these long term goals are being established, the management must be, they have to go to the next step of determining the specific objectives which are to be achieved within the time that has been specified. Now, one more thing that we'll have to remember is that the time availability. In the entire chapter that we discussed, maybe planning, maybe goals, maybe objectives. Now, time frame plays a very important role. Now, one more thing we will have to remember is that now we were discussing regarding the specific objective. Now, setting this specific objective is definitely a multi-step process. Now, having said all this regarding MBO and the goal setting, now we should also understand that management by objective is normally based on two concepts. The first one is that we should let the people, or the people here refers to employees, we should let people know what is that is expected of them, or what is their responsibility, what is their duty, what work they are to be doing in the organization. And the second concept is that it should allow for employee in participation for setting goals for the organization. And also, nowadays it is believed that to bring in a happy balance between individual and organizational goal, it is very much necessary that the employees also participate in the goal setting process. Now, management by objective, it gives subordinates an opportunity to tell what is happening in the organization, and also it gives importance for the jointness of the objective, and also indicates that both superiors and the subordinates in the organization can play a very dynamic role in the organization. And because of this base idea, MBA starts with the establishment of clear goals, not only clear and concise goals of performance which are to be understood, and most importantly which are to be accepted by both superior and subordinates. Now there is one of the management researcher called as Robert Albanese. Now he has given a useful approach in terms of setting goals, and according to him it may involve the four steps that he has given. The first one is the organization will have to know its goals. Now, before the organization goes and meets its subordinates, the superiors or the top level management people, they should be able to identify the objectives of the organization. And once after that, the relevant group goals and the performance goals will have also be, should also be considered in terms of how it can be explained for the subordinates. Now, the top level management will also have to get the feedback from the employees and also report it back to their higher officials. And when it is communicated and the feedback is taken and reported back, it can ensure a coordination of goals of the highest level of management. Otherwise, if it is not well discussed between the groups, then definitely it shall always bring some kind of the trouble for organization. The next one is that the top level management, they'll have to meet up with their subordinates. Now, this meeting is nothing more that the superior will have to meet their immediate subordinates, and they'll have to explain the objectives and the plan for the group. Now, here the main intention is that there shall be transformation of information clearly to the immediate subordinates. Now the next one is climate for goal setting. Now once the subordinates they understand what is expected of them by the superiors, now there shall be a proper climate for goal setting developed. Now when a proper climate is developed, it provides authentic opportunity for the subordinates to check the goals and also question them against certain criteria, like might be measurability or accountability. Now, the subordinate also can schedule, a meeting with his operating and staff person. Now he can inform the group about the goals and the action plan that has been formalized with the superior. And the one more thing here is the second meeting with subordinates. Now, once a superior holds another meeting with the subordinates, it is to arrive at a set of actual goals that should be mutually accepted by the two different groups. Here, the importance is and shall always be on arriving at the measurable goals. And the goals might be defined in terms of maybe specific increase in rupee sales volume or production output or quality important. Now, these are example. It can be anything. And the successful of this MBO program, they must usually try to establish two types of goals. That is performance goals, which can convert organizational goals into specific objectives for organizational units. And the second one is individual members and personal development goals, which normally allows the individuals to develop their skills, knowledge, potentiality, and also prepare them for the coming future. Now, the next thing is that in order to improve the quality of the objectives, when it has to be a joint goal setting session, there are some of the steps which has been suggested by Tosi and Carol. Tosi is Tosi and Carol is Carroll. Now they have suggested six steps, seven steps which are to be followed. The first one is the superior must always participate in the discussion. Not only that, not only telling, he should also be a good listener and also that he has to contribute to help the subordinates. And the second step is that any kind of irrelevant discussion, the things which are not necessary, they should be avoided as much as possible. The third step is that anything that comes in way of achieving the organizational goals, such things must be identified. Now, once all these problems are identified, it is always easy to find out the solutions. Once after that, alternatives should be looked into only after clarifying the obstacles that are in hand. Now, one more thing that we'll have to remember is that setting goals is undoubtedly a tough exercise. Now, goals must be planned in such a way that they ultimately should satisfy, some of the condition. That is to say, they must be clear, they must be without any kind of confusion, or unambiguous. They have to be concise in nature. They have to be accurate, especially in terms of the true end state or conditions sought. They should be consistent with the policies, procedures, and plans of the organization, or especially for the departments or the units to which apply. They are to be such a plan that they are in competence within the boundary of man. That is to tell, the goals which can be achievable. They are also expected to be interesting, motivating, or even challenging whenever possible. And we should always note the fact that setting goals is one of the important activity, or it is too important an activity to hurry through. Now there should be adequate time given to follow for discussion and also evaluation of all these goals. And the fifth step is that the superior should always try avoiding making suggestions. Now, he should not try to impose goals on subordinates by dominating the goal setting session. He'll have to listen to them, then he'll have to understand if what idea he has come up with this was better, or is there any chance that from the suggestion of the employees or subordinate that those ideas can be made better off? Then if at all something has been said by the employees which might be worst scenario, you should not simply try arguing with them. You should make them understand why it cannot be better for the organization. And also, he should not simply force the employees to do. He should tell them why it is important for the organization to do the activities what he has come up with. Now, once all the objective has been set, the manager has to think about it and also has to talk about it again. And there are many research that has been done. Now, it proves an evidence points that people who have solved a problem, they start again and try to reach a second solution, and it has been proved that the second solution has proved to be better always than the first solution. So the second step in the process of management by objective is action planning. Now, speaking about action planning, it means by which an objective of the organization can possibly be achieved. Now, it gives direction and also it speaks about unity of purpose to organizational activities. That is to tell, the organization is a whole of different departments or different units. Each will have its own purpose, but then action plan ensures unity of purpose. That is, the purpose of each department put together be such that it becomes the objective of the organization. Now, action plan speaks in detail exactly what is to be done, How shall the subordinates proceed? And what are the steps that are to be taken? And what are the different activities which shall be engaged by different subordinates? Now it also provides specific answer to questions like what is to be done, who is responsible for each activity, what are the resources that are needed, what is the time requirements are would all such questions should be answered. Now there are two ways of developing this specific action plan. Now they may be developed by both the managers and subordinates or by the subordinates alone. But to ensure success, the superiors must always be willing to sit with each subordinate and also try analyzing the action plan. Now, once this action plan has been developed, then periodic review process usually helps the superior to know the progress of all these goals. And also they help in finding out better and more efficient methods of accomplishing goals in finding out the most feasibility way of implementing the earlier goals. And also it speaks about if at all there has been any difficulties for accomplishment earlier. Now if at all the subordinates appear to be not on the right direction, the performance objectives should always be modified, or the subordinates can redirect their activities into more productive behavior. Now, the emphasis or the importance in this periodic review should be on checking the progress towards the goals of the organization, how well they are being achieved. Now, if at all they find that the performance is not satisfactory, the superior must try to identify the cause which is resulting for lack of process, and in doing so he should always try that he shall not criticize the subordinates or indicate specific steps as to how to proceed in the future, so that the achievement of goals becomes easier. Now, one thing the superior should remember is that the emphasis should always be on improving the process rather than degrading the subordinate. And the last step that we are considering is appraising performance or final review. Now, in the final phase of this management by objective program, the actual results must be measured against the standards that are being set. Now, these standards would have been mutually agreed on. Now, these mutually agreed on objectives usually provide basis for reviewing the progress that the organization is making. Now, whenever appraising the performance of the subordinates, usually it is expected that they should sit with their subordinates and find if at all there are any kind of problems encountered while accomplishing the goals, and the subordinates, as in the periodic session, should not be criticized for failure to make any kind of significant process. Now the atmosphere or the environment should not be threatening one for the employees or a hostile one for the employees. Now a give and take atmosphere should be there in the appraisal. Now, we can speak of all these things when it comes for the theory, but in actual practice, this type of give and take session is definitely extremely difficult to achieve, and it usually rarely reaches its potential value unless managers they are gifted with necessary interpersonal skill. Now often appraisal takes place for the purpose of determining rewards and punishments or judging the personal worth of subordinates and not the job performance. Now, as a result, appraisal sessions, they might become awkward and uncomfortable to the participants. And also, they can intensify the pressure on the subordinates while giving them, by giving them a limited choice of objective. Now, whenever the subordinates are insecure, they may come to dread the session and they may not feel free to communicate honestly and openly without fear of retaliation. Now, appraisals can only be useful or they can really be useful if the person being evaluated knows and accepts in advance the ground upon which he is being appointed. Now this is the process of MBA. We started with setting of the objective. We came up with how these goals should be set. Then we spoke regarding the action plan or what is being achieved or how it is being achieved. And once after it is achieved, how the appraisal goes off, how the result shall be known. So this is the process of MBA process. It shall definitely be in the external environment, the top management philosophy, and a continued support and commitment from their side is necessary. There shall be two parties, superiors and subordinates. First, establish the long-term goals. Then, from on the basis of long-term goals, establishing specific performance objectives, and based on this the action plans are to be developed, then the result are to be appraised, and based on this corrective actions must be taken. So this was all regarding the MBO process. So that's it for today's class. You can leave the meeting. The link for the next class shall be sent in your group. Thank you class for your patience listening.